Hello everybody and welcome to this second tutorials video. Today we're going to be looking at the various maps that are present in Feng's game right now. If a new map comes out, I will probably add it in annotations, but this will probably be my final version of this video. I'm not going to update it too much. But yeah, the first map we're going to be looking at is City. This is the first map that Feng actually created for the game that, actually resembled something from the Attack on Titan world. And, it used to be really primitive, but now there's a lot of cool stuff in it. There's proper walls, there's proper buildings, and yeah, it just looks really cool. It's also much smaller than Trost itself, but, it's in scale with the characters, so it makes sense. The characters are chibi, so Trost is chibi. Now, the most important thing you have to remember about the city is that there's a lot of different environments that you'll encounter in the map. Mainly, you'll see areas that are really open, such as the big roads that circle around the entire map, and then you'll see some really cramped alleyways that that even the small Titans can barely just fit inside. When it comes to maneuvering between these two different environments and the various environments that you'll find throughout the rest of City, the map requires a lot of control from the player. Like, you can't just fly around willy-nilly. You've got to have you've got to have at least a little bit of ability to slow yourself down, to avoid crashing as much as possible, to really focus on what they're doing with the 3DMG rather than just swinging around as they please. So yeah, in order to do that, speed and control are kind of inversely related to each other. So the lower your speed, the better your control. So if you want a lot of control the way City does, you can't get it straight away. You really have to slow down and really think about what you're doing the first few times you use 3DMG in City. And yeah, just really think about where you're going and what you're doing. The other thing about City is there are a lot of buildings in the area, so it's really easy to just miss Titans completely. This leads to not only the fact that sometimes it will take forever to find the last Titan, and you'll just be spending like 5 minutes flat just trying to spot this 5-meter class Titan. But also that sometimes there'll be jumpers and aberrants that you won't see, like just around the corner or something, and you'll turn and there'll be this Titan staring you in the face, and then even if you try and get away, if it's a jumper, sometimes they'll jump and eat you nonetheless. So basically what you want to do in City is you don't want to run on the ground, because if an aberrant's just around the corner and you get surprised by it, then you will be killed. Like, there's no way around that. So at least stay off of the ground, off of the roads, but don't take that to the extreme. Don't start flying really high, because then jumpers can just easily find you and snipe you. And if you're not fast enough, then it could mean the end of you. Jumpers don't actually have a height restriction, so they can jump as high as they want. Even if you think you're flying so high that you're safe from jumpers, you're probably not. So yeah, like, if you have to run, then run on the rooftops at least. And if you have to fly, then don't get yourself too far from the ground, otherwise it could mean the death of you. So yeah, that has been City. There's plenty of multiplayer maps that take place in City. Most of them are just the same idea in different formats. So if we quickly take a look at the multiplayer map selection screen, then you'll see the City is the very first one. There's 32 Titans, I think. Oh, actually, there used to be 32 Titans that you had to kill, but after Player Titans came into the game, basically Feng actually changed that, and now you only have to kill 10, which I completely forgot about. But then if there's a Player Titan, it becomes significantly harder to win the game. So yeah, that was a pretty interesting change for a time. It's actually still a pretty interesting change, because there's no guarantee that there's going to be a Player Titan in the game. So sometimes some games are a real pushover, and some games are ridiculously hard because there's 4 or 5 Player Titans. And it just escalates really quickly. Then there's Colossal Titan, which is where you have to defeat the Colossal Titans, and abnormal Titans try to run to the back gate where there's a bunch of civilians trying to escape. And Colossal Titan 2 is pretty much the same, except it's a bit easier. Trust is basically the second part of Colossal Titan. So basically, when you play the Colossal Titan, he kicks open the gate, and that launches a boulder. And Trust is basically you're helping an NPC Errant Titan to carry that boulder back to the gate and block it up. Then finally there's the City 3, which is Capture Checkpoint mode, which I'm quickly going to show you guys because it is the newest multiplayer map. And basically there's these different checkpoints set up throughout the map, and you either play as the humans, or you either play as a human or you play as a Titan. And if a Titan has secured a certain checkpoint, then it turns yellow, and if a human has captured a certain point, it becomes blue. And basically as soon as the Titans or the humans have captured all of the checkpoints, that's when they win. So here you can see a nice little Titan making his way towards the back gate. So yeah, it's basically just kill all the Titans except with a little bit more added. If you're on the Colossal Titan map, let me quickly show you guys what the Colossal Titan looks like. There you go. And yeah, that's pretty much him. A little thing that you have to know about the Colossal Titan is as soon as he spawns, he does this big thing that will insta-kill you if you don't get the hell out of there. And then he does his arm swipe, and then he starts actually attacking. So yeah, you have to be careful about a couple of things because of that. I won't go into the moveset that the Colossal Titan does in this video, just because it's a little bit outside the scope. I may do a future video, we'll see. Ouch. But yeah, as you can see in this map, there's also a little bit of grass on the outside, which is interesting because grass is actually introduced properly in the next map that we're going to take a quick look at, which is only available in multiplayer. So this is something that you can't do in single player, and that's outside the walls, which is basically you have a horse. If we quickly enter the game and we play as a proper horse. So yeah, here you go, we've got two horses, one riding the other, and basically you can control this horse, which I'm going to go over in a future video. But basically you can control the horse, and it's basically the same checkpoint system that was used in City 3, except it's scattered around the map. There's also a really cool thing where if you're playing on the Titans team as a player Titan, you can actually release the female Titan to wreak havoc on the humans, so that's a pretty cool thing. There's also a village of crawlers somewhere that I've yet to find, mainly because I don't play this map that much. I don't really know where it is, but yeah, it's somewhere around here. And if you go there, then you have to kill a bunch of crawlers. But yeah, this is how the capture system works. You walk inside the circle, and then you get a supply points at that. If you die afterwards, then you actually start spawning on that map, which is a pretty cool thing. So yeah, there you guys, as you guys can see, Annie just spawned, which is absolutely great. Oh balls, this isn't good. And yeah, that's basically what happens. This is the middle point, as you guys probably guessed, and female Titan just spawned. The next map we're going to be looking at is Forest, and Forest is pretty much the opposite of City in the way you use 3DMG. Mainly because unlike City, there's not a lot of buildings, or I guess not a lot of obstacles in the way of trees, as even though the trees themselves are huge, there's lots of large gaps between these trees, which means most importantly that if you manage to aggro a Titan, it can potentially follow you for huge distances. Like even if you aggro it and then you fly it across the map, the chances are it's going to catch up to you within like a minute or so, just because there's so much open space that it can just walk in a straight line and it'll probably get to you without walking into a tree. Unlike City, where if you aggroed a Titan across the map, it would be hard pressed to move even a few meters without walking into a building. So yeah, this means that Titans can potentially follow you all the way up to where you are, and they can possibly gang up on you, which means that you have to kill Titans pretty quickly in Forest, especially in harder modes. Like, normal, the Titans are pretty slow, but hard and abnormal, especially abnormal when they're always running, it could mean that you are easily ganged up on and destroyed in a matter of seconds. So yeah, that's one big thing to remember. It's the fact that because there's a lot of large spaces, Titans can potentially walk everywhere on the map. But because there's so many large spaces, it also means that you don't actually need the control that was so necessary in City. You know, you can pretty much fly wherever you want, and the chances of you actually hitting a tree are pretty slim unless you were aiming for the tree, or you just got unlucky. Which means that, you know, you can build up speed. You can build up a lot of speed. You know, speed is the inverse of control. You don't need that much control, so you can have a lot of speed, is basically what I'm saying. You know, you can do whatever you want with 3DMG and pretty much nothing happens. Because as Levi said in the anime itself, you know, it's a forest of big ass trees. It's pretty much the optimal place to use 3DMG. In fact, I recommend when you're initially using 3DMG, I recommend just going into the forest map and just swinging around the trees and just getting the hang of, you know, how to use gas, how to use reeling, how to use gas burst, and all these kinds of things that I'll be teaching you next few videos on how to use 3DMG. Just go in there and practice, because there's a lot of open space and you just do not need to, you know, think about what you're doing. It's just, okay, swing here, swing here, swing here, left hook, right hook, left hook. It's very natural in that way. And because of that, because 3DMG possesses such a natural movement in forest, playing in forest also teaches you how to control your momentum really well. Like, it teaches you a lot about where to place your hooks so that you go in a certain direction, how much gas you have to use, when you have to use gas, all these cool things you start picking up the more you play in the forest, as opposed to in City where, you know, it's just, oh, I crashed into another building, and then I crashed into another building, and then I crashed. It's just not a very easy learning curve. Whereas in forest, you pick that stuff up much easier. And the best part about it is there's also like all these different branches and stuff coming out of the trees themselves, which means that you can shoot a hook pretty much anywhere as long as you're high enough, and, you know, still be able to hit a branch or something. So yeah, it's really, really adaptable that way, and it's really, really fun and learnable in that way. And this is, you know, a bit more advanced 3DMG as well. You know, when to use gas. I don't expect any completely novice player to pick that up immediately. So that pretty much means that Forest can guide you throughout all of your 3DMG learning experience. Like, in the beginning, you can just mess around in Forest and just get the hang of 3DMG. And as you practice, you know, you can go back to City if you want, or you can just swing around and kill Titans. And as you practice more and more, you'll eventually start learning stuff. And once you pick up the basics, once the basics are firmly established, you can go back into Forest and just practice some new methods to really build up your 3DMG skills. So there's a few multiplayer maps that do take place in the forest. The first one is the forest, and it's basically, there's no respawn. Either you die or you live at the end of the game. You can play as a Titan, and there are supplies. And yeah, it's basically the equivalent of City. It's pretty much the same thing, except instead of 5, it's actually 10, so it's even easier if you're playing by yourself. But if a player Titan happens to walk in, you might just find yourself being killed quite a lot of times. Whoops. Forest 2 is you survive for 20 waves without respawn, and Forest 3 is the same, except they will respawn every wave. And Forest 4 is a further addition to Forest 3, and basically you cannot touch the ground. It's instant death. It's basically the floor is lava. And basically the way these last 3 work is, I'll quickly show you what Forest 4 looks like, and then we can take a look at the final few maps. In the beginning you get 3 Titans, and they're all aggro towards you. Once you kill all of them, it spawns 4 Titans. It does say 5 at the top, but that's because the last one hasn't died yet. There you go. You get 4 Titans, and then you just have to keep killing them. And basically from that it becomes 5 Titans for the next waves, and 6 Titans, 7 Titans, 8 Titans, 9 Titans, all the way up to 22 Titans or 23 Titans for the last wave. And just to showcase, because this is Forest 4, if you touch the floor, you do die. Those aren't the only multiplayer maps, however, in Forest. There's also the Annie boss fight, which is the same thing as what you would have gotten in the Plains map, you know, outside the walls, except you're now fighting her in the forest. Oh shit. But yeah, besides that, there's no other big maps except for tutorial and battle training, which we're gonna go over next next tutorial video, and also racing Akana, which I'm gonna go over very quickly. This isn't a tutorial on how to race; it's a tutorial on how to play Attack on Titan tribute game, and this is more like a bonus gimmick, if you ask me. Like, it's not really a part of Attack on Titan. It's just more having fun with Feng's 3DMG system, which is indeed a lot of fun. It's one of the big parts of Attack on Titan, but it definitely isn't what makes Attack on Titan what it is. But yeah, it is a pretty fun map, especially in multiplayer. Especially in multiplayer, you know, there's a lot of tense action going on between the different players. There was a cheat that used to be exploited, but now it's been fished out and hooked. But yeah, there's a lot of intricate stuff that needs a lot of detail explaining, and I just don't have the time in this video. If you guys want, I may do an extra video on this map, but it's going to be at the end of this series rather than anytime soon. Besides, I'm sure there's already a tutorials video that highlights exactly what you have to do for this map in particular. And they probably do it a lot better than me, because I just haven't played in racing for quite a while. So you're going to have to find that video on YouTube somewhere. Maybe comment so that I can add it in the description. Otherwise, that's pretty much it until the next tutorials revamp video. I know a lot of people have been asking about you know, the volume in tutorials number 3 in particular, so I kind of want to fix it for that reason. But there's also the fact that I kind of just want to remake the video for a couple of interesting things that have been added with regards to 3DMG. Also because I just want to get back in the hang of making proper videos. So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, share it with your friends and anyone else who you think will find it interesting or helpful or enjoyable. Comment, ask questions. If you've got any questions, I would happily answer them if I know the answer. And be sure to subscribe. I will catch you guys next time with another tutorials revamp. Take care, guys.